Hello, I am Tim Neumann and I'm going to show you how to create your ABC Storyboard with Microsoft Planner. Here you see Microsoft Planner. This is effectively your own private plan. If you want to invite other people to the plan, then you can add other members. How do you work with this plan? Now here are some very basic instructions. But basically, the plan is organized in columns. So we do not have a horizontal timeline, but we have columns and you add tasks to the columns. Now I've labeled this section 1, section 2, section 3, but you can change it, for example, to week 1 or topic 1, topic 2, and topic 3, and so on. How you label this is up to you, depending on how you want to organize your storyboard. Now the task is to first arrange learning types into these columns, and then to add an activity to each learning type within each section. And after that, to add formative or summative assessment. And how you do that, I'm going to show you now. So the original plan comes with one example of the 6 learning type cards. If you click on any of that, then you will see the description of what the learning type is. And you also see suggestions of activities that you can do for this type. These are already the digital versions of the suggested activities. Now, I suggest that you keep these cards intact and use them only as a reference source. So I suggest you click on the 3 dots and you copy the task. And then you have 2 versions of the acquisition card in this case. And you can then drag it over into the relevant section, be it a week or a topic, where you want it to be. Then we can, for example, add a discussion. Just copy that. Then we have these 2 discussions and we can drag one over. This way you keep the originals, which you can then copy and paste as you like. However, there's also an alternative method to create new learning types. And you can just add a task. For example, I can give it the name lecture, say add task, and there I have it. But it's not assigned a learning type yet. For that, I need to go in there, and then I can select which learning type this task should be. In this case, I'm choosing acquisition. You will see that you do not have a pre-populated checklist in here. So if you want to add an activity later, you would have to type it in here. But before we get to the activity, the task is effectively to just add the learning types. So you can just add things. Add task. So I'm adding another task. Homework could be practice. So just check that. Then I go out of it. And then I have an acquisition task and a practice task here. Not in the right order. So I want acquisition to go first. First the lecture and then some homework. And then let's add a discussion. Add task. And this forum needs to get a discussion type. And the discussion will come after the lecture. So you can then populate your topics or your weeks as you see fit. And if you want, you can even include the discussion into the lecture already. So you can go into this new task, which I've called lecture, it's now an acquisition, but there's nothing to stop me to add discussion to that as well. And then I would have discussion and acquisition as part of the same task. So I don't need this task anymore. So I can actually delete that. So once you have spread your learning types across the different sections, be it a week or a topic or whatever else, then it comes to attaching activities to each of these learning types. For that, if you have copied the original cards, then you have it easy. You just go into the activity type, then you can tick all those items off that you do not want to have. And that leaves watch recorded lecture. It's a bit weird, so you need to organize yourself how you want to display it. And probably, yeah, only having one particular task might be the option to go. For example, you could just delete all others, and then you're left with watch recorded lectures for this acquisition task. So let's do the same for discussion. I want the discussion to be a asynchronous discussion forum, so effectively I can delete all the other options. And for the second topic, we still have a practice task. So for the practice task, I need to enter something in here. So to practice, we can say run a simulation. If this is a viable option for a practice activity. If we filled this in here, yeah, it still says watch a video, but it doesn't reflect the discussion item. So discuss the video in a forum. So this is how you add activities to a task. So we have now completed the learning types and we have added activities for each task. The minimum of one activity for each task. The next step is to change the priority to indicate formative or summative assessment. So assessment is normally attached to a production task, which I don't have yet. So let's add a production task. So let's call it an essay. The title is completely up to you, add task, and the essay should be a production task. I've just checked that. And let's call it a digital essay. I can even be more specific and say this needs to be a Word file. And that comes after the homework. So I want the discussion here to be a formative activity that I change the priority to important. Unfortunately, we can't relabel them, so this is a bit of a bastard effectively. So important stands for formative assessment, whereas urgent stands for summative assessment. So this discussion is feedback, formative feedback that I want to give students. So I'm selecting important here, and the advantage is that it is visible on the front of the card. So for the production, let's do the same. But this is supposed to be a summative assessment task. So let's switch it to urgent. Then I can see this is summative assessment. Now you may be wondering, what about the activities that I have added here? Why can't I see them on the card? Okay, I can make them visible by showing this checklist on the card. And then suddenly it says digital essay Word file. So let's do this for the other tasks as well. Show on card. Show on card. And this switches off the description. show on card. And then I have a nice overview of the learning types, what kind of activity is being done, and whether there's any formative or summative assessment. And then you can go ahead and export this plan to Excel, which creates a separate file where you have all the information that you see on the screen in a way that you can use elsewhere. So this is a quick demonstration of how you can use Microsoft Planner in order to build a quick storyline. And the nice thing is, especially in the early stages when you're assigning learning types, you can drag them around as you see fit. For example, the assessment might be a separate activity, not related to the lecture here. And then you can move them as you see fit. And you have a very quick overview of how your storyboard unfolds. One final consideration. I have not yet found a way to share this plan beyond an organization. So effectively, if you want to use Microsoft Planner, you have to recreate this plan in your own context. But it's not too difficult, and once you have created a template, you can at least share it within your organization. Thanks for watching.